Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for today's episode of Real Estate Disruptors. Today we've got Cody Barton, another player in the Phoenix market.
Another one.
And we're going to talk about how he went from six figures doing multi-level marketing to kind of getting lost, I think, a little bit, to now owning dozens of rental properties and having a wholesaling and fix and flipping operation. So, if this is your first time tuning in, I'm Steve Trang, founder of the Offer Fast Homes app, the only MLS for off-market wholesale properties. And I help entrepreneurs create businesses that support their family, lifestyle, and goals through mentorship. I'm on a mission to create 100 millionaires. In fact, we've got our workshop coming up in 3 weeks. If you guys want to check that out, go to disruptors.com/workshop. If you're excited for today's show, please give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. And as a friendly reminder, I don't charge a dime for the show. I don't make any money doing this. Here's all I ask. This is what it costs for you to listen to this show. If you get value today, please tell a friend. Either share this episode right now, tag a friend below, or tell me your best takeaway from the show later on. That way we can all grow together. And Cody and I were just talking. I actually didn't get settlement statements from Cody. And it's the first time in a long time.
Why is that?
Because he uses my title company. So I actually can just go in there and look at it if I really need to. But since we're already doing business together, I need to get the settlement statements. So this is a live show. Please ask your questions for Cody to answer. He's an open book. So first question is real simple. Is what got you into real estate?
Man, well, I mean, it all kind of goes back to when I was a little bit younger, when I was a teenager. I always wanted to, I was like the black sheep in school. I always wanted to make a lot of money, and like school kind of pushes you down that path of like, you need to get a job and work really hard. You know, it's like the 40-40-40 plan, get a job, work for 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life, and hopefully retire off 40% of that income that wasn't already enough in the first place. And I'm like, I don't like that plan. So I'm like looking at different ways to make money, really. And so I got into initially network marketing because I'm like, okay, I could make money here. Did that for a few years, built a business all over the world, and that was a ton of fun, learned a lot. It really grew me up, made me grow up really quickly.
Well, I think we should talk about that because that's how you made some of your connections as well.
Yes, definitely.
So you want to talk about what MLM that was?
Yeah, the company was Vima.
Okay.
And really, I got into that. My sister was in the company. She introduced me to it. I got started, and I just started taking massive action, which I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just took a lot of action, and I was just super persistent. I was consistent and persistent. So I was just continuously taking action, and within a year and a half, built up a team of over 2,000 people in that company.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was crazy.
Well, and the reason why I want to talk about this is because there have been a few guests on the show already.
Yeah, that I knew from there.
Right. So, I mean, there was Nick and Octavius.
Yep.
And there's Brandon.
Yep.
Right. So it's crazy. I still remember going back a long time ago, back when I was still in engineering.
Yeah.
I was reading Multiple Streams of Income by Robert Allen. Mm-hmm. And he talks about the value of just getting into multi-level marketing, not because it makes you rich.
Yes. No.
But
most people don't make any money.
Right.
I mean, no, most people don't make any money in real estate either, but
right.
But
it teaches you the valuable skills you need to be a business owner.
Exactly. I mean, the things that you learn, networking, number one. Number one is your net worth is going to be, what your network is filled with. So within that business, I was getting surrounded by people that were, making 6-7 figures, 8 figures a year.
Yeah.
And so those people were directly mentoring me, telling me the books to read, telling me the things to do, telling me the changes to become a better person.
Mm-hmm. A lot of mindset stuff.
Exactly, which transfers over to anything that you're really doing.
Right. So were you the big closer that they flew in?
I was the fly-in. I was the trainer.
Okay.
So basically, I didn't understand the Visionary Integrator relationship, but my business grew really well because I recruited visionaries, and the visionaries on my team, I didn't know it at the time, but they were the visionaries where they would bring people.
How were you recruiting visionaries?
I would just show them the plan. I was just consistent, and I was persistent on showing the plan, and they were the ones that were able to then take it and be able to be, that motivational speaker, the one that got everyone fired up. So basically what would happen is I'd go into a different market. We'd be doing our regional trainings and things like that. I would go in there and structure the whole event to make sure it was going to accomplish what we needed to, have them go up and speak and do the rah-rah, and everyone's excited, and then I would teach everyone actually what to do. That's how we did. Yeah, the systems. Right. The systems to making it work.
Gotcha. Okay. Very cool. But you were higher up in the pyramid, or at some point there were a lot of people at least beneath you in the pyramid.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And then, so that was working really well, but then
what happens is, well, it was sort of interesting because it was a lot of young people that made a lot of money in that company. I mean, a lot of money at, when you're 18, 100 grand plus a year, like you're rich,
It's a lot of money at 18.
Yeah. So, and I was just like, all right, so basically the biggest thing that happened is what I think happened is there were so many people in the company that started making a lot of money, and the personal development hadn't really caught up with that. So, making a lot of very bad financial decisions. They weren't, really in a leadership position to take the business from where it was to continuing to grow it. So slowly it started to taper off, and it actually started to, dwindle down. Like I remember going from, a little over 2,000 people in the team to just seeing it kind of slowly but surely started, declining. And that's when I started realizing, I'm like, I don't really want to do this. I don't really want to do this anymore. It's just, it's a different kind of beast.
But did you leave while the money was good, or you started leaving when it's like the writing was on the wall?
The writing was on the wall, and I realized that. So what did I do? I'm like, what else can I do to go make money? My mom had a real estate license, so I'm like, I'm going to go get my real estate license.
Right.
So I didn't know what wholesaling was. I wish I did. Otherwise, I would have just done that first.
So when was this?
So this was back, 2015. So this is a while.
You say a while ago.
A while ago for me. Like I was 21.
Not that long ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Not that long ago.
And I bring that up because a lot of people think like it takes forever, and really like 5 years, I think, to build a business to what you have. 5 years is a really short period of time.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, so you go get your real estate license.
Yep.
How was that experience?
It sucked. I hated it. I hated school. So I knew I had to go through it. So I crammed, got my license after failing 3 times and finally passing, got the license. And then I just, I started just taking a lot of action. I was doing open houses every weekend. I was door knocking. I was cold calling. And I didn't have my database, I'm 21. I didn't have a bunch of people that are, in secure jobs already to go sell houses. So I had to go find new clients. So that's basically what I did. And so first year was a little rocky. Within the second year, I started getting momentum, I got an assistant, got a couple of agents working under me, and did that next year, did one more year of that. So I think it was like 3 full years as an agent.
And how was that?
Hated it.
How was it financially though?
Oh, it wasn't bad. Like I was making, so the first year I think I made like 60 grand, and then the next 2 years I was making, mid 100s, like 150. So it was okay. Like I was already kind of used to making that and network marketing without, all of the expenses. So that's grossing that. Doesn't mean you're netting that.
All right.
So, the biggest thing that I took from being an agent was I didn't want to do it anymore because I didn't like dealing with clients. And just recognizing that about my personality, that's why I work well as an integrator. Is I don't like dealing with the people. I like my people. I like our team. I like dealing with the team, but as far as dealing with clients, I was like, not really what I want to do.
So, wholesaling.
Yeah.
How did you come upon it?
Well, really, it's funny because some of the guys at Keegley, right? Josiah, Hunter, and then I hadn't met Jamil yet, but I was actually in a small Bible study with Josiah and Hunter.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
This is when they were first starting Keegley a few years ago. And so they were starting that, and I was, understanding wholesaling a little bit more. And, just kind of seeing what they were starting and doing, I was like, man, like I really got to look at doing wholesale and fix and flips and, that side of the business. And so basically watched, kind of what they were doing, and it got me excited. And I had met a couple other investors around town, and so I started, doing some door knocking on pre-foreclosures and got my first, literally, this is the thing, is I didn't know anything about fix and flips. I didn't understand really how wholesale exactly worked, but I went and just door knocked pre-foreclosures and got someone to believe that I could help them, and brought an investor that I knew that would flip the house, and we partnered on the deal, and that was the first flip that I ever did. And I didn't know what I was doing. I just took action. This is the years kind of merged together, honestly, now, like 2015, 2016.
Okay, so you discovered
2017. I don't even know.
Well, I guess my question is when the transition from traditional real estate to wholesale.
Yeah. So that was probably like 2017 then, or 2018. Yeah. Yeah, 2018 is when I started really transitioning into just wholesale.
Got it. Okay, so then, and I want to hit this point here because like you invested in yourself.
Yes.
Right. I mean, you went to events, you were learning stuff.
Yes. But
you were still struggling.
On the wholesale side.
On the wholesale side. You
definitely.
Because I think it's important, right? A lot of people watch this show, and they see the success, and for some people might think, oh, it's really easy.
Yeah.
Like, let me just go ahead and just go get a couple systems, buy a couple lists, skip trace it, text it, and then I'm making 6 figures a year.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't really work like that.
So let's talk about.
Sounds great.
So I think it's really important to talk about the journey, because even though you have massive success today, there was a time where you were not feeling so successful.
Yes.
Let's talk about that time.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, really what I decided is there was a day, and it was in 2018, when because I was still doing some traditional deals and kind of just holding on to that. And I was, trying to work into doing wholesale deals. So I would do like one every other month. It just wasn't really going. And so I just kind of had to burn the bridges I'm just like, I am done doing traditional real estate. I am only going to do wholesale. Right. And I'm going to do it the ways that everyone says you can. I'm going to drive for dollars. I'm going to start doing that. So what I did was I made my plan. I remember I would wake up, literally this was my plan Monday through Sunday. I would wake up, I'd map out where I was going to drive for dollars for the day. This is before the freaking Deal Machine app and all the, the great tools that you could use. So I was
more tools today than there were.
Yeah, there's so many more tools, and people like, oh, I can't figure it out. I'm like, really? Like, you have so many resources to do this. I mean, this show is helpful in itself. Right. So I mapped it out. I would map out, okay, where am I going to drive? A lot of these areas were in South Phoenix because I just knew there was areas over there that, visually could be on my driving for dollars list. So I would map it out. I would drive from about 10 a.m. to about 2:30, 3 o'clock. I would, add addresses to my list. I would go home, and I was handwriting those. I was handwriting in a yellow notebook all of those addresses. I would take those home. I would individually skip trace all of those addresses. I would cold call them one by one.
Yeah.
And that was what I did to start. And I got my first deal in the first month, and I just tried to do it all by myself to just figure it out. The end buyer that I found just by cold calling LLCs took advantage of me, kind of pushed me down on my price. I didn't really know. It was a lot that I actually got under contract. Yeah. The lady that I got under contract, I'm like, I don't even know if this is a good enough deal, but I got it. I made like $3,000 on that deal, and I was like, all right, well, proof of concept that it works. You could, drive for dollars and do it. And that was in a month. Yeah. So then I took that $3,000. I reinvested all of it. I didn't take any of it. I had money saved from, being a realtor. So I just took that $3,000. I bought a CRM from Carlos and Sal at that time because I'm like, I know I need a CRM to get my stuff organized. Brandon Schwam, which is a guest on the show, he's like, dude, you got to do texting. So I'm like, got it, perfect. So then I took the rest of the money, got a small list, started texting, got a package of 6 houses that, at that time, the dispo source was Jaden Pudney over at Carlos and Sal's company. They helped me get that deal done, made $18,000, took that $18,000, reinvested it. Long story short, probably 4 more months went by. I was getting 1 or 2 contracts a month, but for the amount of leads I was generating, I should be getting a lot more. And they were always smaller. Because on the acquisition side, where it's not my strong suit, I always want to give the seller more, and I always want to sell it for less because I'm like, oh, man, I'm selling it to my friend. Like, I want them to make money, acquiring it from the seller. Oh, I feel bad for the seller situation. So on a deal I should have made $15,000, $20,000 on, I'm making $5,000 because I feel bad for everyone and want to make sure everyone's happy.
Right. It's that glue that part of it is part of being that introverted personality.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? You just want to make everyone happy. You want cohesiveness.
Yes.
And so on.
Exactly.
Okay. So then is this around the same time that you connected with Pace?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And I think this is an important story, right? Because, I've said from the beginning, from episode 1, we want to create 100 millionaires.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and you were already having success.
I was closing deals. I was making money. But I was not even touching the potential of what I could be doing, and I knew that. I knew I needed to find something, and I had tried finding other people that love to do the sales side, and I just wasn't really finding it. So I'm like, well, I'll just do it myself. I'll figure it out. So that's just where I was at. And so what ended up happening, I remember I was sitting at my desk upstairs in my office. I was texting. I always had my dual monitors. I always would listen to your show. So I was listening to you interviewing Pace. And on that show, he was, it's like he was closing 10 to 11 deals on his own every month. And I'm like, what is he doing? I'm like, this, and then he's like the master of sales, and then he mentioned he lived in Mesa, and I'm like, I got to talk to this guy.
Right.
So I stopped what I was doing. He gave out his number on the show, which he sometimes regrets now.
It's crazy. I've told him every time, and he still does every once in a while. I think he's a crazy person.
Yeah, so I remember I texted him. I'm like, hey, Pace, I just saw you on Steve Trang's show. Loved it. I just wanted to reach out to you. I've actually been generating a lot of leads. I don't think I'm, doing the best job at closing all of these opportunities. Can I just bring these leads to you and you just close them? I don't need to make any money on them. I just want to learn. I want to get better. You're obviously closing a lot of deals. I just want to get better. I'll just bring you these leads. Just show me your process when you're closing those.
Yeah.
So the reason I did that is I understood from, like, when I was in network marketing, you have to lead with value. Like, there's too many people that are takers that are just trying to,
and a lot of people say it.
Yes.
But so let's expand on that because it's important.
Yes.
I think it's critically important. It sounds kind of cliche now.
Yes.
So when you say lead with value, what did that mean?
Leading with value. I understand, like, so where I was sitting, I'm like, what do I have to offer Pace at that time? I have leads. What can those leads do for Pace? That could bring more money to take care of his family. What is that going to do for me? I get to watch him go through the sales process, close those leads, and actually get better. Yeah. So if I get better, that's going to make me more money.
Right.
So that's what you have to do. And I think so many times, like, people reach out to me, people reach out to Pace, people reach out to you, and they're like trying to take. Hey, like, people, Pace will tell people, like, yeah, like, Cody could help answer that. And people will text me and they'll be like, hey, you need to give me this. And I'm like, excuse me? I don't even respond. So, if you're watching the show and you've texted me demanding something, I will never respond. So, but that's the thing is, like, there's too many people that they aren't leading with any value.
Right.
And so that's what I understood with that was I want to bring him lead opportunities so he can make money, support his family even better, and that's how I'm going to learn and become better. Like, you have to, people at the beginning, they're so caught up in, like, making so much money. They see, Lambos, and they see, like, all the gurus that are making tons of money, and it's like, yeah, that's going to be part of the process if you are willing to go through the process. Right. But there is a process. You have to learn the business, and some of the best ways to learn the business is finding people doing well, bringing the value that you can actually bring to that individual and leading with that and not expecting something in return.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
So I think there's a couple really important points here, right? So you're listening to the show, so thank you initially for listening to the show. I appreciate that.
It's honestly best, and I'm on the show, but I think this is the best podcast that you can be. Like, people that are listening to this, like, this is what helped me on the days where I was frustrated, cold calling, getting bad numbers. I was using, like, skipping on Intellius, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, I got to figure this out. And this show just, continues to give encouragement. So I love what you're doing with the show. It's been amazing.
Well, I appreciate that. But you, not only that, you took Pace's info, reached out to him, connected with him, and continue to take action. And I think that's one of the themes that a lot of people miss is, and I'm not saying anyone's not made this mistake. Like, we've all had a little bit of getting stuck with paralysis analysis. I mean, Lauren last week was talking about, like, one of the things that she does as a coach is just helping people get out of analysis paralysis. Yeah. But you're a pretty analytical person.
Yes.
But you're still taking action, and he's like, oh, that guy that can't believe he gave out his phone number, but since he did, let's jump on it.
Yeah.
And I run with Pace.
Yeah.
Right. So we talk fairly regularly.
Yeah.
A lot of people called him.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people said, hey, I have leads for you to close.
Yeah.
I don't think he's told me anyone else that said, I have leads for you to close. Let's work together.
Yeah.
Right. So that's massive, respect for that.
Yeah, because the thing people say, it'll be, the first thing, like, people will be like, yeah, I have this lead. How much am I going to make if you close this deal? What am I going to make on the deal? It's like, that's what people come at you with, and you're just like, dude, I'm trying to help you.
Sorry, guys.
So that's the thing is, leading with that value. And so what happened there is, I remember he texted me back. He's like, hey, I'm going to Dallas. I can't meet, reach out to me next week. And so I'm like, well, hopefully that's not him trying to brush me off, because I will reach out again next week.
Yeah.
So I knew the day he was getting back, reached out, like, hey, let's get together. Where are you at? Any time of the day. I don't care. I'll meet up with you. And we went to dinner, talked. A couple days went by. We met at a McDonald's because his golf tournament got canceled. So he hit me up and he was like, hey, do you have any leads that you're working on? And I was like, yeah. Where are you at? And he's like, I'm driving over here. He's like, meet me at this McDonald's. So we met at
so random.
Yeah. So we meet at this McDonald's, and I just put together, I had my 5 hottest leads that I was working on that I was floundering with closing, right? And within a week, we got one of those, it was literally within like 4 days, we got one of those contracted. We made 20 grand on it. And he's like, yeah, like, you know, we split it 50-50. I'm like, dude, I don't care, but, you know, thank you. Great. He's like, just generate more leads. And within like another week, we got 3 more contracts. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing.
This works.
Yeah, I'm like, this works. And so, you know, a couple months of doing that, and I was like, all I did was I just started taking that money, and I'm like pumping more leads. I'm like, if I could just keep getting more leads and just, you know, teeing them up, setting up appointments for Pace to go and close those leads, this works out great.
Right.
So that's what we did for a couple months. And after a couple months of like dating, I remember we're sitting in his living room, and he's like, I think this was like, it was like in April or March of last year. And he's like, if we don't hate each other in like 2 months, like, why don't we just partner? So
there you go.
And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Right. And so since then, you guys have partnered up.
Yeah.
Where you got American Home Offers.
Yep.
You've got Sub2 creative financing. What does your company look like today? Because it's got so many moving parts.
Yeah, there's a lot now. There's a lot of things going on.
So, like, what are the companies you guys have together?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about each one of those.
Yeah, so American Home Offers is our wholesaling company. And so basically within that, we have 2 acquisition guys, 3 acquisition guys, Tino, Nick, amazing guys. Shout out to you guys. Love you guys. And then we have Daniel. He's a newer junior acquisition, which he just got his first contract yesterday. So proud of him.
Awesome.
And then we have Anna, which she's kind of a Swiss Army knife. Like, she works within our American Home Offers business, you know, doing, you know, some podio management and kind of some lead management as well. But then she also manages our construction on our flips for our other business. And then we have Rochelle. She's our transaction coordinator for that business. We have Jeff. He's our disposition agent for that business as well. And then I'm, you know, running the marketing for it, and I'm actually in the process. We've built a really strong virtual team, and I'm almost at the point where one of my VAs is talented enough where he's able to run all of our marketing, manage all of our VAs, manage the amount of leads that we're getting on a daily basis, and basically running the marketing department. So we're
How much
almost
is that
at that
VA
point.
getting paid?
He's getting $6 an hour.
That's incredible value.
Yeah, it's incredible value. But the thing is, you know, I care a lot about him. I care about his family. You know, at Christmas, it's like, you know, we're sending him, you know, Christmas gifts for his kids. Like, he's getting bonuses whenever deals are closing. You know, he's getting bonuses on those deals as well. And now, since he's moved into this new role where I put him in management, he's getting an override on all of the cold callers, any of the texters on our team. So he is just super excited. He's in Columbia, and where he's in a city where most people, how they're making money in his city is they're like selling clothes and stuff on the street corner.
Yeah.
So there's not a ton of opportunity, and so he's able to have a really big opportunity, and he's a hard worker. And so, you know, I really am happy about, you know, what we've been able to build with our VA team. So so that's what our American Home Offers business looks like today.
Right. So you have the wholesaling operation.
Yes.
You got the flipping operation.
Yep.
And then you got this other entity that just holds a lot of properties.
Yeah. So we're, you know, actively still buying rentals via Subject 2, and then we're actually going to be doing more of the Burr model. You know, inspired by like Zach Keeps. You know, he's, you know, crushed it with that. Obviously,
he's doing very, very well. We all want to be Zach.
Yeah, exactly. So we're integrating, doing a little bit more of that in our model as well, so we can, you know, be in really good equity positions on some of those properties as well. So we have that. We have, you know, investment in, you know, a virtual assistant company that one of our friends, Matt, owns. And so, you know, we've been helping with building that out as well. And that's been, you know, a ton of fun to work on. And, you know, then we also are partnered with Annie, Jesse, and Evo on the Go Knock app. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're working on. So
right now with your wholesaling operation.
Yeah.
On average, how many deals a month are you guys wholesale?
So on average, direct to seller, it's about 8.
About 8
on average. Yeah.
Okay, and your guys' average fee on those?
15,000.
15,000.
Mm-hmm. It actually just started going up. We were actually a little bit closer to like 10 to 12 a few months back.
I was gonna say we're at 13.
Have you? Okay, because we started noticing we've been going up a little bit more. But what we've also started doing is we've been pounding on our sales training. Like Pace has made it a really big point on hammering the team on sales training, where that wasn't happening as much. Like we have John Martinez sales training that they're going through on a weekly basis, and they have modules to complete. They have role play sessions to do, but Pace has been doing a lot more in-person training with them, recording calls, and we've just dialed in that process a lot more on, helping our sales guys get better, personal development, doing individual meetings on a weekly basis with the sales guys. Those were the things we weren't doing within the last couple months. And then also one of the things that that we just started using was smartphone. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yes.
So we started using smartphone in our Podio, and it's been great. Our guys can dial through a lot more, and so they're being a lot more effective too. Obviously, that doesn't change the spread, but as far as dials that they're able to make on a daily, efficiency. So
So then let's go to the flips. How many of you guys closing on the flips per month?
Closing on the flips, two on a monthly basis. We're looking at ramping that up a little bit to get to 3 to 4 of those a month.
Right.
There's a conservative side of me. Pace is on like, let's do all the flips, and then I'm reeling that back. I'm like, well, election's coming up. There's uncertainty a little bit in the market right now. The market is hot here, which is it's just houses are selling really quickly.
It's showing no signs of slowing down.
Yeah.
But it could.
It could. So that's kind of where I'm at with that is, I'm happy if we're taking down 2 to 3 new flips a month, and if we're able to make, 20 to 30,000 net on those, I'm ecstatic.
Right.
But what we've been noticing, I don't know if you've noticed this too, is we've been getting beat up on our Benzers lately. The last couple months, like, our buyers have been beating us up on Benzers.
We haven't been getting beat up on Benzers. We have been. I mean, let me take a step back. We are making repairs.
Yeah.
But these are like, those repairs. We just had one right now that we're closing in 6 days, where we got like on the Benzer, or not in Benzer, on the inspection report. It's like, hey, this roof is shot.
Yeah.
Here are 2 bids for the roof, and it's $18K from 2 different companies.
How big is the house?
It's a pretty big house. I'm looking at it, it's like, oh, that sucks. We're going to have to go back on the market. And they submitted the Benzer, and it was like, tweak the AC, fix the pool motor. And I was like, wait a minute. You just sent me the report that says the roof is shot, and then the Benzer is like $2,500 worth of repairs. So I asked Kristen, like, verify.
Make sure that that's actually what they're saying they want done.
Because if that is, we're going to tell them we're going to think about it. But it's a hell yes.
Yeah. Right? I mean, that's great. I mean, our last couple Benzers, it's stuff that should be fixed. We've just been having bad luck with some of our, like AC goes out mid-escrow. I mean, stuff like that has, happened on a couple of the ones lately. And,
well, that's the fun part of flipping, right?
Yeah. So we basically just account for a $5,000 Benzer on every deal. We're just like, we're just accounting on it.
I think that's a pretty safe spot. So Andrew's a great question is, what is a Benzer? So we're in Arizona, so we call it the buyer inspection notice seller response. So Benzer.
Yep.
Okay, so then I think we got a lot of sub 2 people here. Yeah. I see a lot of peace signs. I'm sorry, sub 2 signs in here. So let's talk about your sub 2 business. How many are you guys picking up right now direct to seller as far as creative financing deals?
So on the creative financing deal side, we were acquiring a lot. Like we were picking up 3 to 5 a month towards the end of last year and at the beginning of this year.
I guess picked up like 10 in October or something like that.
Yeah, no, it was too much. My integrator side, too much.
Yeah.
So now what we've done is we've been working on, over the last couple months, we've been stabilizing those, and now pretty much every single one, besides we have one property that isn't stabilized yet, and so now we're starting to acquire again. So we stopped acquiring for a couple months.
Let's explain what stabilized means.
Yeah, so stabilized meaning they need to still be light renovation typically on those properties. So
Gotcha.
Getting them rent ready and then getting a lease option tenant in those properties. So basically stabilized where the renovation is done, we have a tenant or an owner finance buyer in that property making the payment where we're not basically bleeding out money. That's what stabilized means.
Gotcha. What is your guys' typical turn time?
So on rental or
from when you guys close on a creative finance deal till stabilized?
Stabilized, I would say about 45 days. 45 to 60 days.
So you guys are paying whatever that mortgage you
basically
guys are assuming.
2 mortgages.
Okay. And what does that run on average?
Anywhere from like 14. We don't usually do higher end stuff, so it's usually anywhere from 1,400 to 1,800.
And then on the light rehab, what are you guys looking at?
Anywhere from $2,500 to $7,500.
Okay, so all in less than 10K.
Yeah.
On a creative deal.
Mm-hmm.
And now you've got cash flow.
Yep.
Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. What do you guys have total as far as like between you and Pace?
So he has some deals that he's bought like outside of what me and him have, but we have about 24 doors together.
Awesome. Very cool. So I think one of the things that we talked about, so the first piece was taking action.
Mm-hmm.
And I can never emphasize that enough.
Yeah.
That really ultimately, of all determining factors of what makes someone successful, action is the number one thing. Now, the other thing is when you and Pace partnered up, this is before traction. This is before rocket fuel. Mm-hmm. So you guys were naturally doing it without
understanding why it was working.
Right.
And there's also like the thing that you have to take into account too is there was a lot of frustration too when, in the newer partnership where we didn't understand the rocket fuel, we didn't understand the traction. We were working together, but sometimes there's the overlap where you're in the new partnership and you're trying to let go of some things that, it's the other person's jobs, so that's where I would be trying to control things that I shouldn't be trying to control and vice versa. So, some of those things you just kind of have to like work through and learn through. Thankfully, if you don't already have the book, it's like you have to get rocket fuel.
Yeah.
Traction is like a steroided out version, but rocket fuel is a great book to start with.
Right. And I think that's something that is really important for anyone that's got any kind of a partnership. I think you've got to read rocket fuel.
Yep.
So let's talk about the integrator role, because did you see, it's been about 2 years, about a year and a half since you partnered up with Pace, right? So you're working on your own. You got your own thing. You're having success, but not this kind of success.
Yeah, not rocket ship success. Yeah.
Right. So you partner up with Pace, and your business goes crazy. And I'm not saying this is all Pace. This is because of the partnership.
Yep.
Right? Because when Pace came on the show, he was still with Homevestors.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
so like, let's not forget, like, you guys were both in your different spots, but neither of you guys were where you guys today.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. So talk about, walk someone through, if they're watching this show and they're more of an integrator type personality than a visionary, what are some bits of wisdom that you can impart on them to help them with their journey?
Yeah, so I would say, if you're an integrator, I think you just have to, first of all, accept what you're good at and what you're not good at. And it's not that you aren't good at something, it's just maybe that's just not your natural strength. Yeah. It's like, I think people are the most successful in their life when they're able to focus on what their natural strengths are, because they naturally probably enjoy it more. People that like basketball, they're probably at least decent enough where they can play and they have fun with it. Someone that really hates it, probably it's because they're not good at it.
Yeah.
So, and that was kind of my thing with the sales side is I could do it, but I didn't really like it. So why not have someone that loves that be in that role? And so just understanding that, and that's okay, and understanding that it's okay, because I think a lot of people are taught, growing up, that when you're in school, you have to be good at everything. You have to be good at math. You have to be good at science. You have to get your weaknesses under control.
Which is one of the worst advices for business.
Exactly. I mean, Gary Vee talks about it. It's like double down on your strengths. Get better at what you're already good at, because you're going to be able to provide more value. So as an integrator, understanding the things that you're good at, working on getting better at those things, and then understanding the things that you're not good at. And naturally, as an integrator, you're typically not going to be as good at sales as a visionary is. So if you're a solo person working as an integrator, it probably makes sense either one is partner with somebody that is a visionary, or hire salespeople. This is your first hire probably, so that you can get the marketing machine going and have your salespeople be able to do the sales side where your natural strength isn't. Yeah. So that's what I would look at as the right path.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great point, right? Like, you don't have to, even if you're an integrator, you don't need a visionary necessarily, right? I think there are plenty of visionaries that have actually been on the show.
Yeah, there's a few.
Right? So you could just pick the vision you like the best.
Yeah.
Right? And as an integrator, if you're good at being an integrator,
yeah,
you can execute it.
Yeah, it's like where the rubber hits the road and actually makes it happen.
Right, and then you can just hire the salespeople.
Yes,
to go close the deals.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's awesome. I think a lot of people need to be aware of that, to open their eyes to it, because I think it's kind of easy to say, like, man, because I'm not a salesperson, I can't make this work,
or I can't do this business because I can't do the sales side. It's really, that's not the truth.
Right. So Leo Aguirre's question is, did you ever imagine being on this show?
Yes.
When you were watching it?
100%.
Awesome.
100%. I mean, that's part of success and like visualization. That's something that I learned back in network marketing is when every event that we were at, we were constantly like, envision yourself where you want to be, envision what that's going to feel like, taste like, smell like, the whole entire thing.
Oh, really?
The whole deal. Like I've been, Tony Robbins, the whole deal. So, it's like visualizing how that is going to look like, and then making the decision that that's where you're going. And then you just have to wait for time to catch up, because once you fully make the decision, you've envisioned what it's going to look like, then it's just time has to pass, and you just need to take the action, and you're eventually going to get there. It's just you don't know what it's going to look like, how long it's going to take, and the obstacles, but you know what the end result is going to be.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, the visualization, right?
Yes.
So what was it? Look like?
Look like, smell like, taste like, if you're eating there, it's like all of your senses. Like the more you can get all of your senses like wrapped around where you're actually going to be, that was a really big thing that we would get taken through a lot. And network marketing was visualizing what that's actually going to look like. So then once you're there, it's like you already knew you were going to be there.
Yeah.
It just time hadn't caught up with that.
So I think as a homework assignment for everyone who's watching this show is to do that exercise.
Yeah.
Right. Hit all 5 senses, and on top of that, the last thing I'll add is act as if you were that person.
Yes, act as if. So an exercise that, Bob Proctor I'd highly recommend Bob Proctor to anyone listening to the show for law of attraction, visualization, things like that. But an exercise that I got taken through to help, problem solve and help become more of the person that, I want to become is, looking at, say, like your top 3 to 5 people that you look up to the most. And whenever you're struggling or having an issue or you feel stuck, taking yourself in a path and like visualizing yourself that you're in a boardroom and you have, say Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, Steve Trang, all those people in the room that are like what you want to be like. And so you can trick your mind and have it sounds crazy, but you can have a mental conversation and say, if you're sitting at that table, I'm having this problem in my business. If I was, if I'm asking Steve, how would Steve answer this question that I'm currently stuck on? How would Grant answer this question? Yeah. So you can get other perspectives from within by creating a different perspective.
Right. Yeah. You're creating a mastermind in your head that actually works.
Internal mastermind. Yes.
Yeah. I think that's brilliant. Leo's got a follow-up question is, what is your why?
What is my why? My why has been, obviously besides helping my family, helping take care of my family and living, a great life. One of the biggest things that I've wanted to do since I was in network marketing and I was so frustrated with since I was a teenager was creating something where I can help, teenagers and then college age kids find a different path to success in life and just, help basically build a platform where I'm able to give back in a big way to teenagers and college age kids and help. I don't know what it looks like yet, but maybe it's building a website where it's like showing different, professions that people can go into that isn't the get a job, work for 40 years, retire, doing that whole plan. Like I want to be able to create a platform that allows me to show teenagers and college age kids that there's other paths. It's not that the path that school brings you through is wrong, but if you feel like it's wrong, hey, here's some other things that you can do that might bring you more joy, satisfaction, purpose, and fulfillment in your life. That's what I want to be able to, that's like my passion project that I want to do, within the next few years.
That's awesome. That's something definitely I would like to be involved with.
Yeah.
Lucky Singh has a question for you. I'm not going to, as an integrator, what are your top 10 tasks you do daily? I would limit it to maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So what are your top 2 or 3 tasks that you're responsible for every day?
Getting a pulse on all the businesses. I mean, that's something that's something I do in a greater detail on a weekly basis, but I'm getting a pulse. I'm looking at, okay, you know, what projects need to be moved forward today, you know, so I know like what deadlines that we're looking at. So if on our wholesaling business, if our leads aren't up to par where they need to be, I'm looking at what can I do today to correct that or put us in a direction where it's going to be corrected. I look at, you know, I basically just look at all of our businesses on a weekly basis, and then I'm setting, you know, actions for that week that are going to, you know, keep pushing those businesses forward. So it's not really any one or two things on a daily basis. I make a weekly plan on what items need to be moved forward, and then work daily on those items. So it could change week by week, but it's everything to do with not the sales side. So everything, basically.
Right. The important but not urgent category.
Yes.
And then let's see, what else was there? Daryl Thomas has an interesting question. He says that he has trust issues. What advice do you have in that regard?
Trust issues with like business partner, or how do we want to interpret that? I'm
guessing probably business partners. Daryl, if you want to clarify that question,
I'll answer it too. But you know, so the biggest thing is like whether it's in like a relationship with like a significant other or a relationship within your business or a relationship with someone else is like, you have to, I mean, this is kind of more religious, but like have some grace for people, and you know what you're constantly thinking about, you're going to attract. So if you're constantly thinking that you're going to get screwed over and have bad business partners and get bad deals with bad people, you're going to attract that. So
I think just to clarify this as an example, because I think this is an example most people understand.
Yeah.
Right? The girlfriend that always thinks you're going to cheat on her.
Yeah.
Are you going to marry that girl?
No.
Probably not.
No.
Because she's bringing a lot of negative energy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So if you're the partner, potentially, that you're always worried you're going to get screwed, you will probably attract someone
that's going to screw you.
Yeah. and it sucks.
Yeah.
So the other thing I'll add, and Daryl, my opinion generally is don't get a partner. Do this on your own. Hire an integrator if you're a visionary.
Yeah.
But I'm also like the biggest hypocrite because I have Max Vanis, who is my integrator business partner.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So, but the other part of it too is, you know, the thing you got to look at is what choice do you have, because you can't wear all the hats.
Yep.
You just can't.
Yep.
So
you have to trust. I mean, to build a business where you actually have freedom, like you're gonna have to trust. Like you have to have trust and faith in either your partner or your integrator or your visionary, your salespeople, your dispo people, your transaction coordinator. Like eventually you have to trust and also be okay that like mistakes are gonna happen. Like
a lot of mistakes are
going to happen. And so it's just having some grace for them and understanding that no one's perfect, you know, guiding them. Like when our team makes mistakes, I'm like, guys, like we can't, like that cannot happen. You know, I understand how it happened. It's the first time this has happened. So it's looking at something, addressing that, and then, you know, looking at how do we make this not happen in the future? What can we do better to make sure that doesn't happen?
Right.
So, you know, it's like trust, but verify too.
I was gonna say,
you know?
Inspect what you expect.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And Matt Beard says that's is on his vision board too. So that's awesome. Draven's asking, would you tell a new visionary integrator partnership? What would you tell a new visionary integrator partnership in terms of delegation of tasks? I'll let you answer this question because this thing is a tough one.
Visionary, sales and vision, integrator, everything else.
Right.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I think that's a great point, right? Like, where is this going to go? Right.
Yeah.
The vision is where is this going to go? What's the direction? You got to draw. You got to paint the picture.
Yep.
For the whole organization. You got to see things that's going to happen a couple years before it even happens.
Yep.
And integrators, like you said, you just make it happen.
The rubber hits the road, where it's like that's what actually like drives those things forward.
Yeah. And you know, I was in coaching. I signed up for coaching around 2011, 2012. And one of my biggest frustrations with that coaching program is that they didn't teach me about this visionary integrator. Right. So like I had success.
Yeah.
Despite, you know, my what I knew. It wasn't because of what I knew.
Yeah.
It was that I got not lucky, but like I worked my way towards that success.
Yeah.
But if someone would just said, "Oh, you just need an integrator," that would have shaved like 3 years.
Yeah.
Off my journey.
Yeah.
You know, so I think this is great. For people to understand, Rocket Fuel by Gino Wickman.
Yep.
Having a visionary, having an integrator, and Draven. I think that for me to answer your question is every situation is different, right? So you you and Pace, Pace is the salesperson, and you're totally happy, be at the back office stuff.
Yeah.
But you're not even really the back office anymore.
Yeah.
You're managing the back office now.
I'm kind of like, moving the pieces around, like, and just kind of like coming in and like pointing. It's like there's a machine that's working, but I'm coming in and pointing at, this could be fixed. We need to tweak that. Hey, if we did this a little bit differently, that's going to work better. Right. Then I'm like, all right, work on that machine. I grab the next machine and kind of, look at the things and how we can make it better. Like, that's more so kind of what I do on a daily basis.
And that's kind of how it was with me and Max, right? When we started, he was the integrator, but he's not a great integrator. He's not a perfect integrator. He's a good integrator, right? So we started where he was the integrator, and now he manages the people to integrate.
Integrating.
Right? So it doesn't have to be a perfect one person does all the work.
Yeah.
You can evolve into a higher level of integrating. Claudio wants to know, where do you and Pace see yourself in 5 years as far as long-term vision?
I mean, honestly, I could make up something, but I don't really know what that's going to look like in 5 years. Like, everything.
It's hard to even know what's going to happen in 3 years.
Yeah, it's like everything that's happened in a year. I mean, we have a lot of big goals. We want to build the goals that we have in our forefront right now is, building up our rental portfolio. We want to have 100 properties in that. We want to get our wholesale business to a point where we're pretty much stepped out of it. And what's important to me about us stepping out of it, though, is, having a wholesale business where our salespeople are happy, they're making good money, and we just want to build a really strong wholesale operation where everybody's really happy and that people are making great money. And then, working on some of these other projects. I mean, I don't really know what 5 years looks like. We eventually want to get into development projects. We are excited about doing stuff like that, but really we're focused on what are we doing right now towards the end of the year. Because everything changes. I mean, you set your goals in January of this year. Like in January, me and Pace had a conversation. We're not starting any new businesses. We're only going to wholesale, do our flips, do our rentals, and the creative deals. And then, 6 months later, we have our hands in like all these different businesses and starting all these different things, and like
it's visionary. Yes, your job to slow them down.
Yes.
So William Ayarza is asking, when you're still new, will you suggest sharing your visionary integrator roles within a group, or would you wait until everyone is set up on their own?
I guess what's that question? I don't really understand the question.
Would you share within your organization? I guess who's the visionary, who's the integrator?
I guess it just depends. I mean, how many people are in your organization? It's, kind of the natural tasks that I think kind of happen is, the vision. Like, if you're just there's two people, there's the integrator, the visionary. Like, starting off, like what I feel like it should look like is the integrator is generating the leads, helping follow up with leads, and setting appointments for the visionary to go and get those contracts. And then that visionary should be trying to bring buyer relationships, helping with some of the buyers, helping sell some of those deals, and bringing like new relationships that can help the integrators do their job better. And then obviously then you start hiring. But it's really visionary, and on just how it worked for us is like Pace worked on the sales and the vision, and I kind of work on all the details.
Yeah, and William, I think that the roles within the organization, they will work themselves out once you start working together.
Yes.
But one thing you can also do if you're trying to clarify the visionary integrator roles is A, you start with rocket fuel, but then B, you got to read traction, and traction sucks as a book. It's not like
it gives you like 100 action items every other page. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's an awful read, but it's a must read. A must. It's a top 3 book in my opinion.
Definitely.
So Leo wants to know if you knew then what you know now, or if you knew then what you know now, what would you done different when you first started?
When I first started with the wholesale business, I don't really think I would have done much different. I like the learning process that I was on. Like, I could have found a Pace or a visionary a little bit sooner maybe, but part of that process too was like it helped me learn and understand what I was good at by not having that. So it helped me appreciate and have a better appreciation for the things that Pace does for our business, where if I would have just found someone that was doing that and he just crushed it with what he was already doing, I may not appreciate some of the things that he was doing because I didn't ever have to do it. So having to do everything that I had to do, it allows me now to have respect and appreciation for everything that he does for our business. So
that's awesome. What is your biggest struggle right now?
Biggest struggle. I mean, we're for Arizona. We're trying to hire a couple junior acquisitions for our wholesale operation. So I mean, that's the only thing I could really think of that really struggling with. Everything is going in the right direction. Things are moving forward. That's just something that, just with growing. So hiring in a couple roles, that's something that we're having a little bit of trouble with, but we haven't put a ton of energy into it. So that's probably our biggest thing right now.
Yeah. And then we've kind of talked about this, being an integrator, but what would you consider to be your superpower?
I feel like my superpower is I can come into a business and figure out why something's not working, and I know I can just come in and make it function. It just is natural for me to be able to come in.
Efficiency expert.
Yeah, efficiency. Yeah. So coming in and how to make things more efficient, and how to I can look at the processes and be like, this doesn't make sense. We need to take that out. We need to do these things. This is how we grow it. So just coming in and making it efficient, and then accountability. Really, I feel like I'm really good with accountability with our team, and having those weekly meetings and check-ins with everybody. So it's just, I'm very blunt. So it's just. These are the numbers. I don't need a story. This is what the numbers are. What did we do last week? Why didn't we perform? What can we do better this week? On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you think last week went? Why wasn't it at a 10? How do we get it closer to a 10? How do we close that gap? What's our goal for the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? What do we need to do? What are these action items that need to happen today through next week before we meet again and have this conversation again? So it's just accountability and, having those meetings. Yeah.
And it's funny. That's the same thing that I have for Max, because I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't ask you, Cody, why did you not make the calls you said you were going to make?
Yeah.
I can't have that conversation twice.
Yeah. I don't know why. I mean, that was what I did well in network marketing too. I was the numbers with our business on why our recruiting numbers. I'm why wasn't there this many people at the meeting? What happened? How are the invites happening before? So those are just the things that come natural. So
that's interesting. MLM really does teach you everything you need to know.
It really did, honestly.
What is the greatest lesson that you have learned?
I think the greatest lesson, it's goes back to that first company when everything fell apart. I developed an ego in that business because
it's kind of understandable at that age and that kind of money.
Yeah, I went from being broke in high school to graduated and was making $100,000 a year with right out of high school, bought a Beamer, thought I was cool, moved into a cool condo, and all my friends couldn't even move out of their house, and was traveling, and I was being put on a pedestal at events around the country. And
also doesn't help with the ego.
Yeah, also doesn't help with the ego. And then it's just with all of those things together, I just thought I was the coolest thing. And so I think one of the best things that ever happened was that eventually falling apart, because it humbled me. I had to sell me and a couple of friends, we were living in a 4,000 square foot house. We were just living life and just spending all of our money.
Yeah.
And I ended up having to, after that happened, I had to sell my car. I had so much negative equity in it. All my savings had to go to just paying it off. So I moved out of that house, had to sell my car, and all of my business went away as I was transitioning into real estate. Ended up having to move back at home with my parents, and I was just wow. Humbled was definitely the word. I was pretty depressed for a few months, honestly. Yeah. I was just got slapped in my identity was in it too. That was what my identity was wrapped in, and it hurt the ego heavily. And so it humbled me to a point where then as money is started coming in within real estate when I was an agent, and then obviously transitioning into the investment side of things, I don't think that I'm the coolest thing in the world. I'm grateful and I respect my work ethic, and I have a healthy respect for myself, but I don't think I'm God or this, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. I have a healthy appreciation for my work ethic, but I also understand I have a lot to learn. It could be taken away from you tomorrow. And, so it's just having that staying humble attitude.
Yeah. Well, that's a great lesson. I think life has a way of teaching you
Yes.
humility. I mean, I had that same mistake. Had a lot of success in engineering. It's I'm going to crush it in real estate.
You just think it's just going to transition. It's just I'm going to be the best at it.
Yeah. No, that's not how that works. now we've talked about traction. We've talked about rocket fuel.
Yeah.
Is there any other book that you say is a must read or you've gifted more than any other?
I would say T. Harv Eker's book on, I think it's Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Mm-hmm. I'm always telling people to read that book, either listen to the Audible or, actually read it. Yeah. And I think the biggest reason is, like, that helped me understand, like, financial management, because it doesn't matter if you're making money if you don't know what to do with that money, if you're blowing your money, if you're not saving it, you're not putting it away to be able to invest and grow for your future. And then it also helps you understand, like, your money blueprint, because something that, outside of that book, but Darren Hardy, I was at a live event with him a few years ago, and he was talking about, he's like, this was at our 6 figures and above earners in that company, and he was having a conversation. He's like, how do you go from 6 figures to 7 figures? He's like, what's so special about this person versus this person? Why is this person making 7 figures? Why is this person making 6? And so he's like, the 7-figure earner has a thermostat, a financial thermostat that's at a different level than the 6-figure. So it's the conversation in your head of, okay, imagine it like you have a house, and in Arizona it's 110 degrees out. Inside the house, your thermostat is set for 70 degrees. If you open up all the windows, using this as an analogy of, like, add a bunch of money to someone's thermostat, the temperature is at 70 degrees, open all the windows, money's pouring in, close all the windows. What is the thermostat going to do? It's going to drop it back down to 70 degrees.
Right.
People have that financial thermostat. Mm-hmm. So if their financial thermostat is set for 30 grand a year, if they get any more money than that, they will lose it. If their financial thermostat is set for 100 grand a year, if they get more money than that, they will find a way to self-sabotage. They will find a way to lose that money. They will find a way to, in however way, they are going to get rid of that money.
Right.
Because of, past programming from when you're a child and, things like that. So it helps you become aware of those things, because it doesn't matter. People want to make 100 grand a year, 500 grand a year, $1 million a year in this business. But if you get to that point and you're losing all of your money, what's the point of being there? So you have to do the work here to raise your financial thermostat, your personal development level, to actually be able to receive that money and actually be able to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good point. Often overlooked.
Yes.
Specifically, everyone talks about how much money you make.
Yeah.
And no one brags about how much money you keep.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. That's not the sexy number.
Yeah. It's like, what are you keeping, and then what are you investing, and that's growing.
Right. Awesome. Very cool. Let's see if there's anything else in here. Zachary Jennings wants to know, before you were working with Payas, what kind of lists were you pulling, or what kind of leads were you predominantly finding, and then have your lead sources changed in the past year and a half?
Stayed the same. We text and we cold call. Those are the 2 marketing channels that we do. Hopefully text continues to last, because it still works great for us. But we'll see with all the stuff going on with the carriers.
I don't see that lasting through the year.
I don't think it will. But we're preparing and hiring more cold callers, and we're ready to shift if we have to. But texting, cold calling, lists, all the lists. There's no secret list. We probate, pre-foreclosure, tax delinquent, evictions, high equity, unknown equity, divorce, all of them. I was doing all the ones I could afford to pull in the smaller niche when I was doing it by myself, but as more money started coming in, all of them, and we still continue doing all of them.
Everybody's a prospect.
Yeah, everybody's a prospect.
Yeah, I still get. I tell Jared all the time. I still get his RVM about once a quarter.
I still get his too. I'm like, Jared. I send it to him. I'm like, dude, you have me on your list. Or like my parents' house, somehow it has me on there, and I'm just like, what the heck.
And then guys, we were talking about traction. So if you guys are adamant about listening to it, for me, my personal opinion is you gotta download on Audible. Get a Grip. It's the Fable story version of traction. So listen or read or listen to Get a Grip. Buy the traction book. You have to buy it. It has to be in your hands. And then Daniel, I guess we'll take this as the last question from Daniel. Can you share some wisdom for the new guys?
For new people, the biggest things that I would say is, you have to. Jim Rohn is one of my favorite motivational speakers, and he talks about, like, you have to work harder on yourself than you do on your job.
Yep.
And so I was just having this conversation with one of our sales guys, Nick, yesterday. I'm like, you have to work harder on yourself than you are on your job, because we were talking about action items. And so for him, it was, doing more personal development, doing more sales training, so that then he would be able to perform at an even higher level and reach his goals that he wants to achieve. And so, that would be the biggest thing, is working harder on yourself than you do on your job, number one. So doing the personal development, learning, not having analysis paralysis where you don't do anything besides learn. Don't become, an event junkie where you just go to events and you buy courses and all that and don't take any action.
Yeah.
But understanding that you need to grow yourself, and then being taking aggressive action, but being patient with the results that come in.
And that's a hard balance for people to understand.
It's very hard. Yeah. I'm a very patient person. Like, I was a runner in high school, so I ran distance. So it's just, I understand the plugging away. I'm training for a marathon right now. So it's, it's a lot of running and it's long runs, and it's not going to happen overnight. And so that's what you have to look at your business, is it's a marathon, and you're training every day.
I can't believe you're running a marathon. That sounds awful. All right. So I'm going to let you think about what last thought you want to leave the listeners with. Guys, I mentioned this in the beginning. So Max and I, we're doing our workshop July 10th, 11th, and 12th. We're going to be having it at the Phoenician. So if you guys want to check that out, go to disruptors.com/workshop. So last thoughts.
So last thoughts. Last thoughts that I'm, super excited about is a couple of things that, Pace and I are working on. Is, one is that, VA business that we're, helping promote, vahub.com. We're super excited about that, and the Go Knock app that's coming out in a couple of weeks. So, we're just really excited for a couple of things that we're launching. But the last thing I would leave listeners with is, if you're going to do this business, commit to doing this business, and make a commitment to yourself that you're going to succeed no matter what, and give yourself some grace and some time to do it. Say, I'm going to give it my all for the next 5 years to make this business work, and pretty much can guarantee it'll work within 5 years if you do everything that you can to learn. And making a commitment is doing what you said you were going to do long after your emotions of the feel good have left you. So it's making a commitment to yourself and to your business.
Awesome. Someone wants to get a hold of you, don't give out your cell phone.
Yeah, I won't answer or text you back if you're calling my phone.
How can someone get a hold of you?
You could message me on Instagram, Cody Barton Official. You could find me in the Creative Financing with Pace Morby Facebook group. And those are going to be the two best ways. You could add me on Facebook, Cody Barton, shoot me a message on there. I'm happy to, answer questions, things like that. But we give out a lot of value in that Facebook group, and we do a lot of lives and giveaways and different things. So those are probably the best spots to find us.
It's crazy how much you guys give away on that Facebook group. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It was fun.
Awesome.
Disrupt us. Yeah. See, we real estate disruptors. Can't nobody touch us. And yeah, we about to give you game. Shout out to Steve Train. Real estate disruptors. They cannot touch us. And yeah, we about to give you game. Shout out to Steve Train. Jump on the Steve Train. We about to give you game. REI's flowing through my veins. And you don't have to look no further. See right here, you gon' learn everything. Shout out to Steve Train. Jump on the Steve Train. We real estate disruptors. See, we real estate disruptors. Can't nobody touch us. And yeah, we about to give you game. Shout out to Steve Train.